So what happens when a country makes two massive and what look like totally opposite bets on the world stage at the exact same time? Today, we're diving into South Africa's high-stakes double gambit. It's this incredible play for both economic power and a stand for moral principle. And honestly, it's a strategy that could completely reshape its future, or, well, maybe tear it apart.
See, on one hand, you have this, the raw, industrial power of mining, the very engine that's going to build the future's green economy. And then on the other hand, you have the principled world of international law. These are two completely different arenas, two huge global moves that don't seem like they should be happening at the same time.
So the big question is, what's the connection here, right? How does a plan to dig resources out of the ground in Africa relate to a huge headline-making legal case at the highest court in the world? Well, that's the puzzle we're going to piece together.
All right, let's start with the first part of this big plan, the economic engine. This is all about South Africa taking its incredible natural wealth and using it to power the future.
And make no mistake, this is a huge deal. The country's own Minister of Mineral Resources has put this right at the center of their national strategy. The goal here is pretty simple: become a partner that the entire world absolutely cannot do without as we all shift to new technologies.
So, what exactly are we talking about? We're talking about critical minerals. You know, this is the stuff that makes our modern world actually work. It's the lithium and cobalt in our batteries, the platinum and hydrogen fuel cells, the rare earths in all of our electronics. They're literally the building blocks of our century.
Now check this out. The demand for these minerals isn't just growing, it is exploding. The World Bank is projecting a potential surge of up to 500% by 2050. Think about that. That's all driven by the global push for green energy. Now, if you're a country that's rich in this stuff, that number represents a massive, massive economic opportunity.
And South Africa is basically sitting on a gold mine. It's a world leader in platinum group metals, which are absolutely essential for hydrogen tech. Not to mention manganese and vanadium, which you need for big, grid-scale batteries. So you see, these aren't just elements on a periodic table. They're major strategic assets in a world that is desperate for them.
But here's where the strategy gets really interesting. For decades, the old model was simple: dig it up, put it on a boat, and ship it somewhere else. The new plan, which they call beneficiation, is all about breaking that cycle. The goal is to process those minerals right there at home, to build the batteries, to make the components, to become a high-tech industrial hub.
And they've got a clear game plan for this. The government is zeroing in on 5 key areas: investing in finding new mineral deposits, funding research and development, building up local processing plants, seriously upgrading their infrastructure, and of course, forging the big international partnerships to make it all work. So that's the pragmatic, dollars and cents plan.
Okay, but at the very same time all that is happening, South Africa is making another completely different kind of move on the world stage. And this one isn't about profit. It's about principle.
This quote from the Minister of International Relations, it really gets to the heart of it. The motivation for this next move is buried deep in the country's own history, its own long, painful struggle against apartheid. There's this powerful sense of a moral duty to stand up for others who they see as oppressed.
And that sense of duty led directly to this: South Africa formally bringing a case against Israel at the International Court of Justice, that's the UN's highest court, accusing them of violating the Genocide Convention. This is, without a doubt, one of the most serious charges one country can level against another.
And you have to understand, for many, many people in South Africa, this isn't some distant foreign policy debate. It's deeply personal. The Palestinian cause is widely seen as a mirror of their own fight against apartheid. And it's that powerful historical connection that's really fueling this whole legal action.
As you can probably guess, the reaction around the world has been intense, and it is completely split. A lot of countries, especially in the global south, are praising it as a brave, principled stand. But on the other side, key Western nations, like the US and Germany, have been really critical, calling the case meritless and siding with Israel. The diplomatic stakes here are just incredibly high.
And this, right here, brings us to the core of the whole thing. This is where those two big stories collide. It's where economic pragmatism slams right into moral principle, and it creates this incredibly delicate high-wire act for the entire country.
I mean, this really is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? Can you, at the same time, try to become a vital economic partner to the world's most powerful countries while also challenging them and their allies on the biggest stage in the world? Can you really do both?
And critics, of course, are quick to point out what they see as major inconsistencies. They ask, okay, if this is all about international law, what about the failure to arrest Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir back in 2015 when he was also wanted by an international court? They point to the muddled, kind of neutral-ish stance on Russia's invasion of Ukraine. They're basically accusing the government of picking and choosing when its principles apply.
So here's the fundamental paradox. The very same Western nations that South Africa needs for investment, for technology, for markets to sell its minerals to, are some of the most powerful voices it's angering with this ICJ case. It's a huge fundamental tension at the heart of their entire foreign policy.
So, is this just chaos? A foreign policy that's being pulled in two different directions at once? Or is there something more deliberate going on here?
Well, some analysts argue that what we're seeing isn't confusion at all. They say it's a careful recalibration, a very conscious and very risky attempt by South Africa to completely redefine its role in the world.
The grand strategy here, it seems, is an attempt to become a leading voice for the Global South, to be a nation that champions not just its own economic growth, but also a more just, more equitable international system for everyone. It's about trying to hold both of these big ideas, economic ambition and moral conviction, at the exact same time.
Which leaves us with this final, massive question. Is it even possible for one nation to walk this tightrope, to try and help write the new rules for the global economy powered by all those minerals, while also challenging the established powers on the rules of global justice? South Africa has placed its bet, and now the rest of the world is watching to see how it all plays out.